Welcome back to the channel, and this is I can't even think what day it is. Today's Thursday, and I'm out here in the woods, as you can see, making a video for you guys. This video is going to be about me making or showing you how to make a bushcraft frog gig. Now, the primary thing I want this channel to be about is bushcraft and survival and stuff. So if there's something that y'all might want me to make or try and make, just put it down in the comments and I'll try it out for y'all. But I'm going to be making a survival frog gig or bushcraft frog gig in this video. But I went ahead and cleared out me a little spot as a base camp where I will make future videos. But first thing we need to do to get a frog gig, a bushcraft frog gig, is we have to find a very perfect piece of wood, our spear. And as you can see, there's a perfect one, pretty straight right there. So first things first, name the tree. This is Bill, and Bill can't talk because he's a tree. So let's cut him down. We're gonna cut the tree down, of course. Frog gig, bushcraft frog gig. So let's cut this bush down, or this bush. Cut this tree down. So whenever I cut with like a hatchet or an axe, and I'm cutting something down, I usually cut at an angle, like this, because it gets in and cuts the wood better than if you're hitting it straight at the side. Because you're hitting it straight at the side, it's not going to cut as well. But what I'd like to do is to cut at an angle here, like this, because it kind of pulls this wood down like that. And then I cut this piece of wood straight on, like that, and it cuts that and throws it off. But if you're trying to make a spear in a crunch, like you need it now, is you can cut it like this, like I'm doing, where you go all the way around it, cutting downwards at an angle, just like that, and then come to the next side, and then it should just come down like that. But because I'm not trying to make a spear and a crunch, and I'm actually making a video about this, it needs to be longer, I don't need to do that. But now we got our tree. Trim any unnecessary branches off of it. Alrighty. So it's going to be around 6-7 foot long ish. So we're going to cut about here ish. Now this part you can do at an angle to make it a spear and make a spear quicker. Because that's what you're going to do almost, is make a spear and then split this spear. There we go. So now that we got our tree, sorry about that, had a couple branches on here. Got our tree right back here at the camp. So what you want to do first is sharpen this kind of to a duller point, but not completely to a point. Here, I'll have to show you. Let me get this camera set up, if I can. Alright, so what you want to do is what I like to do is kind of hold it up like this, so as I cut downwards towards it, and I don't even know if I'm on frame right now, but I'm trying to show you all this. Get out of my way. Okay. Okay. So what I like to do when making spears or anything like that, and I have some time to actually do it correctly, especially frog gigs, is I like to hold it where the spear point that I want the side that I want the spear point to be on is pointing in the ground. Preferably on something harder, so you don't hit it into the ground. And then you kind of work your way around it, hitting it, cutting it into your spear point, almost your spear point, because you got a sharp. It's going to be a 4-prong spear or frog gig. So you want to kind of have it on a root or something hard. You kind of, yeah, there we go, that's what I wanted. Kind of cut it down to your spear point, like this. You want it to, you kind of want it to be sharp, but you don't want it to be completely sharp, because it has to be the 4-prong frog gig has to be sharpened on each prong. So you can have it somewhat to the sharpness that you want, but it's not going to be completely, you don't want it completely because you might break the tips off of it, and it will require more work to have to redo that step. So something along the lines of this here, how it's spear pointed almost. I don't even know if I'm on camera, so sorry if I'm not. But it's spear pointed almost, but it's kind of flattened a little bit. So I need to find me a piece of wood I can use as a baton, or baton, however you want to say it. This might work, I don't know. But next thing you'll need, which you don't have to have it, it just kind of helps if you do have it, is a knife or a bushcraft knife. You can do it without, but I find it easier with it. But this is just a cheap knife you can get off of Amazon. You can actually get a knife similar to this from Walmart for like $3. So they actually aren't too expensive, in my opinion. But what you want to do is you want to cut, you want to put your knife in it like this, about the center point of that point, and then hit it as evenly as you can down the wood to where it splits it just like that. Then you'll pull it back out, twist it, and then do it again. So this will make four edges. It's splitting it into 4 basically. So just like that. Okay, so let me see if I can get me a stick right quick that's strong enough for this. Let's see. You need alrighty. Got my sticks right here. Let's see. Alrighty, got me a couple pieces of stick. It's hot. It's really hot out here. You're gonna take these and you're gonna wedge it inside of that gap that you made. One going one way and then one going through the other way. About like that. Should look something like that. Along those lines. So now you want to take some cordage. You can either have some cordage that you've made in the bush, some bushcraft cordage, or you can just go get some of this bank line from Walmart. But you want to wrap this. You don't have to wrap it. It helps to wrap it. This part that's been split because it's weaker right here. So if you wrap it, it'll help a lot with the rigidity of your spear and how long it lasts. So I'm going to wrap it up a little bit. Doesn't have to be super fancy wrap or anything. Just kind of put it on and pull it tight. So wrap it around, pull it tight. This will help a lot with your spear holding up. Just wrap it, and then you kind of want to lash your sticks right here into it so that it's all connected and these sticks don't slide out by accident whenever you're using the frog gig or whatever you may be doing. You want to lash these prongs in place basically so that you don't lose them and so that this wood stays strong. Doesn't have to be real perfect or anything like that. Just something to prevent this stick splitting any further and to help these prongs stay in. So because if those prongs slip out, they not the prongs. If the sticks slip out from in between the prongs, you could lose your 4-prong spear. So now that we got these sticks lashed in there pretty well, I'm going to cut off a little bit of this extra pieces of the stick that aren't necessary. Because these pieces of stick that hold this these prongs open can get in the way if they're too long. So it's good to have those trimmed down just to the right length that they need to be. Then you want to, this is kind of the more difficult part of the whole spear, is you gotta, I lost my train of thought. You gotta sharpen each one of these points, or each one of these prongs to a point. So you have a greater chance to spear a frog, spear a fish, whatever it may be. You have a greater chance of doing so with sharper points and more points on one stick. So that's what this primarily is really good for, is spearing things like frogs, maybe fish, because of the multiple points on one stick. It's kind of, I guess you could kind of compare it to shooting a bow, because if you shoot one arrow, it's kind of a 50-50 chance, I guess, to hit whatever you're aiming at. But if you can shoot multiple arrows at once, it will have a greater chance of hitting the target. Because you could have a frog right here, be aiming for it, but only get one of the prongs into the frog, and it was one on the edge. So it's actually a really smart way to spear a frog. And unfortunately I can't demonstrate this to you right now. I wish I could, but I can't. Mainly because it's going to take a long time to try and find frogs to gig. But we're pretty much done with this now. And that's about what it should look like after everything is said and done. So you can spear things, and it will be very, 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 very effective in doing so. Just don't spear the mud, because you might get mud in your prongs, and make it a little bit difficult to spear a frog or something. But we're pretty much done with it now. There's your 4-prong spear. Hope y'all enjoy this video. Like, subscribe, comment any video ideas, and I'll see you on the next one.